what I would like to do is encourage people to bring along associates and other people in other disciplines, particularly front and real estate, so that everyone makes the most out of membership. It is pretty clear that we are a fraud-centric network, but each year as we grow, I'm delighted to say so does the scope of the work that we are doing together. And you can get out of the relationship with us exactly what you put into it, in the sense of I'm happy, Frans, to connect you to our head of real estate here at Mishcon. And I'm sure as you are attending more meetings or on an email chain, so you can get connected to other real estate groups insofar as they exist in different places. And that's one of the added benefits of being a member. And we would all like to see the younger members of our firms join and see what it is like to participate in these things. And also, of course, the obvious, which is the senior associates and managing associates, however we call them, of today are the partners of tomorrow. So that's wonderful to see you all.
Perfect, thank you. I'm Pernille. I am from Moellem Weidemeyer, and we are from Denmark, based in Copenhagen. My practice is corporate compliance. I do investigation work as well. So that would be my main focus areas. And what I expect to get out of being a part of this group is I hope to get some good and challenging business opportunities and a lot of great work to do with you. I also hope to get some good intelligence, learn more about how things is done in the rest of the world, and obviously good friends, good network, good everything that we can benefit from.
All right, well, I'll start. My name's Corey Denovan. I do trusts and estates planning and litigation, as well as corporate planning and litigation. I'm in Sioux Falls, South Dakota in the United States, which is sort of in the middle part of the country. Don't let the south of the South Dakota fool you. I expect and hope to get out of IFG a wealth of knowledge to lean on fellow members and get to know all of you, and to be able to refer clients that might have possessed or put their assets in South Dakota. That's what we're famous for, one of the premier trust jurisdictions, to get them the help and assistance they may need all over the world.
Okay.
Yep, my name is Megan Joyce. I am at the Redstone Law Firm in Sioux Falls. I've partnered with Corey on a number of different pieces of trust and estates litigation. And I also do corporate litigation, commercial litigation here in South Dakota as well. Corey asked me to join him this morning so that I could share a little bit about our practices here in South Dakota. And so I'm looking for some of the same things this morning from the group that he is, in terms of shared knowledge and hope opportunities in the event that you do find yourself dealing with a South Dakota trust, and also having a resource to send clients who might need international assistance.
So my name's Helen Hatton. I'm based in Jersey and the Channel Islands, and my role professionally, I'm Chief Advisor to BDO. My area is regulation, white collar crime, money laundering stuff, especially in offshore environments, trust companies, all that kind of thing. I'm also on the board of Santander in the UK, and I'm chairman of Central Associates, which is an investigations, intelligence and surveillance firm. What I want from IFG, apart from lots of opportunities to Zoom with Gary, is professional friendship, learning and earning.
Thank you. Best make sure I unmute first. Hi, I'm Steve Holt. I'm a partner at Grant Thornton in the UK. Yeah, I tend to deal with, let's say, misunderstood individuals or companies who've done things perhaps they shouldn't do. In terms of what we're looking to get out of IFG is really to be a long-term proactive and collaborative partner. It's to speak to people, to learn things, and to share as much as we can, realistically.
Yep. My name is Søren, and I work at Moellum Weidemeyer as a junior associate. And my core work consists of litigation and corporate investigations. I think what I hope to achieve out of this is to share some knowledge with you and thoughts on recent trends, and of course then expand my professional network. So nice to meet you all.
Well, I'm based in Barcelona. I was a member of the group until very recently, since 1997, and I have now the honor of being the chairman of the Strategic Advisory Board, which I am happy to do, and very happy to see all your faces and get acquainted with all of you now, the new ones. Thank you.
Yeah, hello, I'm Jonas from Moellum Weidemeyer as well. I'm a senior associate here, and I work with litigation, mainly in respect to M&A, warranty claims, WNI. And I look forward to expanding my network here and also to share some business relations and new insights into this investigation. Yeah, and nice to meet you all.
Hello, I'm Louise Delahunty. I'm based in London. My career is as a white-collar crime lawyer, first of all in boutique law firms, moving to city law firms, and then more recently US law firms, including Sullivan & Cromwell, which is where I came across Moellum, Dan Moellum. And so I'm very pleased to have made the introduction to IFG and that you've joined, and that's fantastic news. My more recent career is involved in business development in this area, white-collar crime, asset tracing, and all that sort of thing. So I'm hoping by, as I am, I should have specified, on the Strategic Advisory Board, to be here in a supportive role to help grow the network with some further introductions and be on hand for anyone who may need me for a variety of things. And like Helen, one of my favourite subjects is also money laundering. And Helen and I are going to have a chat about that and other topics next week. Thank you.
Oh, hi, Gary. Nice to meet you all. I'm Thomas Weidemeyer from Moellum Weidemeyer. I'm the managing partner at the law firm and mainly doing litigation, arbitration, and investigation as well. So I work pretty closely together with both Jonas and Søren, and I took the liberty on inviting them today so they could say hello to you all. I think what I want to get out of this network and IFG is, the biggest thing could be to get to meet Joe Biden, and I already did. Thank you, Gary. But else, I think the same as the rest of you said before. So thank you.
Yeah, thanks, Gary. Hi, everyone. My name is Tristan Yelland. I'm an associate director with Grant Thornton's forensics team in London. So I work very closely with Steve, who very kindly invited me to this. My work is largely around investigations, white-collar crime, and asset tracing. I was going to say that, I wanted to get sort of connections and sort of friendships out of this, but I think actually learning how to raise a large family is probably more valuable in the current lockdown environment. So that's it from me.
That's good. My name is Frans Siersted Rasmussen, and hello all. Pleased to meet you. I'm a partner with Moellum Weidemeyer. I'm heading our real estate M&A team, and also doing a lot of cross-border transactional work pertaining to real estate and financing. And with respect to my hopes, wishes, and dreams concerning IFG, I share Helen's view, and we'll be looking forward to be both earning and learning.
We started up 13 years ago being like an M&A boutique law firm in Copenhagen. We're a spin-off from one of the big law firms in Copenhagen. And for them of you, doesn't know the Danish legal market that good, well, a mid-sized firm as ours is around 60 all in all. And the biggest firm here in Copenhagen is around 250 lawyers or something like that. So we spun off back in 2008 from one of the big firms, and started up being this M&A boutique law firm. It has then grown a bit and developed, and what we have seen over the last decade is that there is a growing appetite for looking into the investigation part of the legal work, and that started up from the M&A practice, whereby we saw a lot of international buyers going into Danish corporates and international capital funds also buying up in Denmark, and there, when you have a lot of subsidiaries around the world and also some in the Scandinavian market, you start to focus on fraudulent behavior, money laundering, and so on. And that was then a topic in the due diligence process. And from that, it developed also to be, well, the cleaning up of the companies, the EU focus on it, the whistleblower system that was introduced have also cast off a lot of cases for us, because yeah, it is, as I think Gary said before, we're not cleaner than the rest of the world. I think we probably had a feeling 10, 15, 20 years ago that there wasn't anything in the Scandinavian market about white collar crime or anything like that, but I think the time has proven different. So it's something we need to be focused on and is focused on. We're also seeing some development within espionage on corporate firms where they try to sell information across borders and so on. So that's also some of what we're working with.
So what is it like in Scandinavia? And you know, I know it's a crude question, but how do we as a network get ourselves known as a network that natural resource, electricity, gas, oil, those industries can use?
Well, I think just for a starting point there, in Denmark, unfortunately we don't have that many natural resources. That's a long story, and at some other point, over some drinks at some point, we can get more into it, because it's all around the drunk politician many years ago, giving it all away to the Norwegian people over negotiation. So the Norwegian are the ones having all the oil, just to make that sure.
Right.
So and gas, we have some oil, but I think what's moving in at least in Denmark is the green energy and windmills and so forth. You probably know Copenhagen Infrastructure Partners, who is building windmill parks around the world, and what we at a former stage called Dong. They didn't know that this name would go international, but
right.
The Dong company also did some of that. Now it's called Ørsted, but they do windmill parks as well. So we don't have that much of that in Denmark, but I think what would be a good idea was that to team up with some of the Norwegian lawyers focusing on the energy, because they're the big ones in that area, in the Scandinavian market or the Nordic market, I would say. We have Greenland, of course, and there's something around that. The Chinese want to take it over, the American wants it, and so on. But
yeah, the change in for me, it was just totally bizarre when people said to me, there are all these jurisdictions developing in the United States where people, and in particular Americans with huge tax exposure, could create trusts that are beyond the degree of flexibility that we can dream of here in the UK. And just tell us about that, and also what kind of people it's attracting, and what you see coming out of it in terms of asset recovery, trust busting kind of stuff.
Sure, thank you. To give you some scope, South Dakota has, and I was doing the research when I was listening, about $3.5 trillion in assets, in banking assets in South Dakota, which is larger than I think the next 2 or 3 states combined. Think about New York, California, Florida, perhaps. So South Dakota has a huge amount of banking resources, assets under management. And so, and much of that wealth is, as Gary pointed out, in trust, in trust. South Dakota sort of is leading the forefront of a premier trust jurisdiction for a couple of different reasons. The first is asset protection. The type of protections that we've codified in our laws here to prevent other people or creditors from outside trying to attack and attach to assets that are controlled in trusts in South Dakota. That doesn't mean all the assets are in South Dakota. So, for example, Megan and I and Hank Milne, who's another member of the IFG, are working on a case where the trust is located in South Dakota. It's the sole shareholder of a holding company based in the British Virgin Islands, which owns a number of real estate ventures and resorts in South America, particularly in Colombia, Panama, and a couple other places. So that's not uncommon. What we're seeing more and more of is that people are bundling up assets all over the world, putting them under holding companies in one jurisdiction and then owned by a trust in South Dakota. And so we are getting, certainly the forefront of it was families in the United States that were looking to prevent or to manage estate taxes. That's where a lot of the wealth transferred to South Dakota to begin with. Now, it's more of the asset protection, like we said, and then now more families from internationally. I would say the international scope of our trust industry has grown the most in the last 3 years in South Dakota from international families and groups. So the point being, I guess, and why the IFG is so important is to have individuals and firms available all around the world to kind of handle the different components to these assets that the trusts own out of South Dakota. And to touch upon what you said, Gary, what we're finding is that there isn't, to the extent that there is fraud going on, to the extent that there are problems going on, we haven't seen the cases where federal or state authorities have gone in and started investigating and looking at it. South Dakota, one of the things and benefits that people like is that South Dakota's trusts are sealed, they're private. So if there's litigation that occurs in South Dakota, it's all sealed and private from the sealed off from the public. The only time I'm aware of that kind of the public becomes aware or something seeps out is the last time was the Panama Papers. There was a trust in South Dakota that owned or invested in a resort down in Panama and lost $600 million. And that came out through the Panama Papers. There was litigation that was going on in South Dakota at the same time that Megan and I were involved in, but that wasn't public. No one knew about it. But because of the Panama Papers, that came to light.
Firstly, is there a restriction on who is allowed to be a trustee of a South Dakota trust, or could I be a trustee of a South Dakota trust?
Under our laws, in order to get the benefit of South Dakota situs, or location where the trust is located, you have to have a qualified trustee, which is either an individual that lives here or a trust company who is chartered in South Dakota or a bank that has its charter in South Dakota.
Okay.
Of how things work in South Dakota. I was just wondering, there's a new anti-money laundering law, I think, in effect now in the US, isn't there? And also with the change of administration, do you anticipate that there may be more inquiries and investigations that affect South Dakota as a result of those two issues?
Right now, the Division of Banking, South Dakota Division of Banking, which audits and oversees these trust companies that are managing this great wealth, is stretched to the limit. The OCC that overlooks, which is the Department of the Treasury's branch that looks into banks that might have their trust charter here in South Dakota, you know, we're just seeing that they're stretched. So I don't know, that regulatory enforcement hasn't really emerged as a major player or force here, but we'll see.
Thank you. Fascinating. I adore trust company business. I have been very, very involved in it over the years, and you know, wrote the regulatory regime for it in the Isle of Man and in Jersey and in Aruba and Cook Islands, and it's very much my thing. And I would say, you know, beware, because certainly in all of those jurisdictions I've just mentioned, my work opportunity has arisen because the abuse of the jurisdiction outstripped the jurisdiction's capacity to actually deal with the abuse. So, for example, in Jersey today, our financial services regulator has 200 staff purely focused on supervising for prudential and conduct of business purposes trust company businesses. We have about 200 trust company businesses here, and they have to be real presence, there's qualification requirements, etc., etc. Our financial intelligence unit has about 80 people working in it on the anti-money laundering side. We have specific courts set up with that expertise in to deal with the legislation. So if you want longevity in your market, I would definitely be putting pressure politically to build the infrastructure to keep that reputation, because it you know, takes 2 or 3 big cases to really damage it.
The help of the Moelim law firm, that we really get our teeth into the Scandinavian market, and that we support you all as much as we can as a network to educate clients and regulators alike as to how important keeping providing the mechanism and the tool, both in terms of legally, civilly, and criminally, to help people protect their assets and to recover them when they go missing. So with 1 minute to go, I want to thank you all so much for taking time out. Really grateful to you all.